Yo, what's up guys, Nakama here, and today I'm going to be ranking all these action animes. And these are all the animes that I have seen throughout the years. There are some few interesting choices I made in making this tier list. Specifically, I added cartoons. Not many, just very anime cartoons like, oh yeah, Ruby and Aang Avatar. Yeah, that's about it. I could have added more action-packed stuff, but I don't know, I'm not really sure. Let's talk about it. Starting off with Blue Gender. This is a very, or at least an obscure anime. I'm going to put it in A because it's pretty good. People even say it's comparable to Attack on Titan. I think it's worse than Attack on Titan, but not because it lacks something in execution. Very similar to Attack on Titan, and it's almost too straightforward, unfortunately. Whereas Attack on Titan has a lot of interesting twists and themes in store. But generally, the story is about Earth being contaminated and attacked by these weird creatures, giant spiders, giant insects, I think. I remember it that way. And this guy here has been in cold sleep, hoping that, wake up into a better future. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case. And also, he was ill, I think from cancer or whatever. So when he wakes up, he was supposed to be like treated by the future doctors, but unfortunately, the future is not so bright. The future has humanity being eaten down by these giant insects. So this guy teams up with this woman and fights a lot of bugs, shoots them down. And the main character gets some character development. First, he wants to die because oh shit, and then he becomes a super Chad, and the usual training arc, survival stories, survival zombie story. In terms of execution, I definitely think the romance between the main character and this girl, who I completely forgot about her name, is well done. The MC's character development is also very well done. Lots of cool characters you meet, but those cool characters end up dying a lot of the time. So yeah, it's very grim-tailed, very comparable to Attack on Titan before the basement twist. It's a really well-executed survival story. Decent animation for the most part. Pretty cool show. SAO is I don't know. Maybe it's C. I could see this being at B. Okay, so SAO, I generally think it's kind of overhated, underrated. The first 14 episodes of the show was really good. The only thing that's kind of holding this show back kind of takes itself too seriously, and it's a bit too unself-aware at certain points of the story, where certain characters playing a certain game in the second half are taking themselves too seriously when they're supposed to be role-playing. I think Sword Art Online Abridged just fixed all the problems. If anything, the existence of Sword Art Online Abridged just shows that Sword Art Online was never that bad of a show to begin with. It has a similar story structure, but the SAO Abridged just made the lines more flashier, it made the characters more expressive, and it made certain scenes way more funnier and self-aware. And as a result, it's just a much more enjoyable experience. But I think the original SAO was still really good. I can definitely go back and rewatch the entirety of SAO. Not the entirety. The second season is kind of blah, but the first season is very rewatchable, I would say. And again, the pacing is very fast. I kind of like these shows where kind of has a really fast pace. Time skips that exist and only show the important parts. I really enjoy those. I definitely think that the first story arc was so interesting that it could have easily extended. The story could have easily been extended to 25 episodes, and probably would have been even a better show because virtual world death game is just so interesting. Kirito has certain interesting, cool moments, certain heart-wrenching and sad moments. And he as a character is still very underrated. The thing that makes Sword Art Online jank is the fact that there are some really big logical holes and some really dumb lines or lines that kind of doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But other than that, it's fine. It's a good story. It's a very enjoyable story to say the least. Tengen Toppan Gurren Lagann is hey, I can easily put it about here. Maybe I should, but I don't know. I definitely think the characters in here are much more expressive, much more colorful and stand out. But at the same time, I definitely think Blue Gender is very underrated, very special, so I'll put it here. Gurren Lagann is really cool. The soundtrack, the animation, the bombastic characters. It's a show about being man, doing the impossible, row, fight the power. You know what that really is. You know, the first story arc and the second arc kinda is very similar. There's a story structure and kinda does ignore certain logic and explains all the kind of the assholes and by doing the impossible, row, fight the power. You know, using that explanation all the time kind of ruins certain potential for mind games to happen, but you know, it's fine. Definitely think Kamina, you know, Simon, great characters, fun characters. The show definitely also explores a lot of interesting subject matters like religious dogma, how does fear affect a person, how does being a brave and doing what you want to do is important, and you know, dealing with death and attachment. It's a good story. It's a fantastic experience. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. Ajin. Yeah, people kind of didn't give this show much chance because of the CGI, but I personally found it to be really engaging. If anything, the CGI wasn't that bad. It actually kind of looked good, honestly. If anything, I think the Asians kind of looked cool in 3D. The characters kind of suffered here, but it's fine. It actually kind of fits. And actually, they did a decent job, really good job of making a 3D animation. And disregarding the 3D, I also think this story is very interesting. Our main character Naga is this almost light Yagami-ish calculative guy who isn't that calculative at the start because he's just a student. All he cares about is being safe, and he just is handed down by the government for being an Asian. Yeah, and he just becomes fucking jaded. He just goes, if the world is against me, I'm going to fight against the world, and he goes fucking full psychopath. One of the shows that explores what will happen if people suddenly stop dying. Also, it has some really good mind games and very interesting and entertaining villains. The story taking place in modern society, interesting and mind gaming moments happening is really cool. I guess there are some really weird plot points or plot holes that aren't very smart, but it's such a small factor. It's a good show. It's a good thriller. Lots of mind games, lots of character drama, and a lot of team building. How the characters form factions, try to fight one against another, having their different ideologies. It's good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. Akudama Drive, Kazutaka Kudaka, Tokyo Games. My boys did it. Yeah, it's fucking A, dude. Genuinely think the show deserves an A. Maybe even higher than this. Yeah, I'm kind of like starting to have a hard trouble comparing these shows. You have to understand, Akudama Drive is a 12-episode anime. Gurren Lagann is 27 episodes, and I think Blue Gender is about 25. So this anime is short, tells an amazing story in such a short time. It's definitely, 12 episodes is so small, but it manages to tell a fantastic story. Akudama Society is about these criminals who are on a heist in an attempt they get a mission from this black cat, but they're also being hunted by the police and the executioners because the society of Akudama Drive is very cruel, or at least the law is very harsh. It just punishes people who didn't follow the law. And if people cause a lot of trouble, they become akutama and treated as insane criminals that needs to be executed. It just shows that the problem of having so much tight law and punishing other people, the problem of punishing other people, it delves into a lot of interesting subject matters like psychology of criminals, society, and as well as societal structure and how a society based on punishment and forcing order through hard punishment and harsh law could be detrimental. Yeah, it's a very politically interesting anime, I will say. And it's only 12 episodes. The animation is great. The action is also fantastic. The visuals are fantastic. Man, this is like easily one of Kazuto Kudaka's best works. I mean, in terms of animation, if you didn't know, Kazuto Kudaka is the guy who created Danganronpa. And my opinion on Danganronpa V3 is crazy high. If Danganronpa V3 was an anime, it will be in S tier. I'm really struggling to put it up high because Blue Gender and Gurren Lagann does a lot of other stuff and doesn't rush. Akutama Drive definitely prioritizes the action, spectacle, the enjoyment, and the themes and the politics more than the characters. But you really can't expect there to be a lot of character moments in a 12 episode show. For a 12 episode show, I definitely think it's a masterpiece. But it's just that I'm comparing this to other shows. It's kind of hard. Okay. Yeah, it's S tier. You really don't get more S than this. The Last Airbender is just fantastic. The Last Airbender has roots in culture, in real life culture, and then using those cultures and creating this bending system, which looks so beautiful. And all of the bending stuff that happens in this field, scientific in its own universe, it's just fantastic. And of course, Aang, Zuko, Katara, and Sokka, fantastic characters, tough. I guess the only problem with this show is that it's way too long and not every episode hit. There are some episodes that feel mid, but even those mid episodes have some nice themes. It's kind of cool. It's cool. It's cool. Berserker. Yeah. I mean, these shows are basically very spottable. I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. But I'm just gonna do this because why not? Berserk is awesome. And I'm not talking about the CGI dog crap. I'm talking about the 1997 anime. It's really good. I really like the old school animation. It still looks pretty decent. And the soundtrack is fucking bangers, dude. Hey yo, and of course, Guts and Griffith, fantastic iconic characters. Griffith is such an interesting character. He's a very human character, I will say. Human character with a lot of flaws. Guts too. Yeah, it definitely is a very edgy and very dark, very bloody. But at the same time, that's kind of the thing about people's lives. People in the medieval era lived in this bloodshed. Women were being raped, wars were being shed, men were dying all around, genocides were happening. It's a cruel world. And all that bloodshed was happening all around. And it doesn't help that in the Berserk world, there are demons apparently. So there's also another faction that has to be considered. And Guts with his giant sword is just crazy. And it's just kind of an interesting story where it tries to have this political drama where Griffith is trying to assert dominance across the world, but also Guts, Griffith, Casca, and everyone are just wondering about life, what the meaning of life, what they should do with their lives, and trying to find themselves. It's a very human story, trying to survive, killing, persevering, but also not being controlled by the violence around them, trying to find more meaning other than violence and power in this world. Devilman Crybaby is also really good. I kinda am tempted to put it higher, but nah, my opinions of these shows are mostly really positive. don't have much negative things to say because, why should I talk negative? I mean, these all people who created these shows are all talented people, and I really appreciate their work, and I learned a lot from their experience. I felt a lot from these shows. So even if, even if SEO is in C, it doesn't mean it's bad by any means. In fact, even if something is in D, it's probably not bad. It's only if you get to the E and F that things get bad, but I don't think there's many shows that go that low. Okay, so in regards to Devilman, the biggest advantage Devilman has is the fact that this show has only 10 episodes, and that's very rare, at least. But at the same time, I definitely think Devilman it's a bit of a controversial take, but I might definitely consider Devilman and Crybaby to be Yuasa Masaki's greatest work, honestly. It's still debatable. I think Ping Pong, Time Galaxy are also very good shows. But I definitely think that the apocalypse story of Devilman is really engaging. And it's very relevant. But yeah, I think Devilman's soundtrack is absolutely amazing. The directing and the funny cartoon as well as the action is also really good. And well, Rio, I guess the manga Rio is much more compelling, but this Rio is pretty decent too. And Akira is also fantastic here. I definitely think they definitely managed to make Miki more compelling in the anime than the manga. But basically, yeah, the show just shows the flaws of humanity and how being controlled by your fears is going to create a lot of catastrophe. And people also just shows the inner demons and violence of humans, as well as actual demons. A show that tells a lot about human nature, has some very emotional moments. Dude, I was devastated after watching Crybaby. Yeah, it was freaking devastating. But it's such a good show. The soundtrack is absolutely amazing. Demon Slayer is really good too. Demon Slayer is kind of weird because I think that the story kind of straightforward. I definitely think it started off really slowly. It's not a bad start. It's just a very standard start. And for modern people like us who consume a lot of media, a standard start where the main character does a little bit of a training arc and then tries to find his motivation and doing a lot of trials to be considered to be a demon slayer, and those type of stuff kind of becomes a little bit boring. Definitely when it picks up, it picks up. Then again, I also have to say that the episodic and structure of the story is it's kind of One thing that definitely pushes Demon Slayer to A for me is the animation. Holy fuck, it's crazy. From the early parts to the Mugen Train arc to the Entertainment District arc, let's face it, there isn't a single anime that has consistently high sakuga and crazy animation like Demon Slayer. It's just a pinnacle of what is to be considered a great animation. It's like the high standard. For the animation alone, it should be A, but I'm not just counting the animation, I'm counting the actual story too, and the story is also decent. The story from a macro standpoint is very simplistic, but the small details in the characters' motivations, their speech, and their values, the family values is also very nice, very heartwarming. People trying to survive and fight demons and trying to do good stuff and help others, Legend of the freaking Galactic Heroes. Yeah, it's S tier. It has to be. Yeah, Legend of Galactic Heroes obviously is fantastic. Even my anime list kind of agrees that it's fantastic. It's in the top 10 anime of all times. Despite the show not being popular, everyone who watched it says it's amazing, and I definitely see that. It's amazing. It is fantastic. It's so consistently good. Every episode has important information or commentary or funny, witty dialogue happening, and so many important info is being dumped to you. Regardless of that, the show managed to still be 110 episodes because so many themes have been explored and so many things have happened. And there are so many characters, and focus on each one of them takes so much time. It becomes 110 episodes. It's just an absolute roller coaster, man. And there are so many insanely great, fantastic characters. Instead of sharing favorite characters in general, we could just share our favorite Legend of the Galactic Heroes characters, and that will be a freaking fantastic way to spend our times. And it just goes to show that how humanity has been waging war against one another for petty reasons for all these years. If anything, the only reason our world doesn't have much war, big scale war, is the fact of the existence of the atomic bombs. But in the grand scheme of the galaxy, there's no fear for the atomic bomb, and the humanity has grown into such a big scale and has transported and is living in different planets, to the point that there's no fear of humanity being extinct. So they just fucking wage war against one another. Oh, we're the democratic nation, and we're the kingdom, and they just wage war against one another. Yeah, it's kind of sad. I mean, there are obvious villains like the cult, the religious cult, and yeah, obviously, religion being bad. Who could have guessed? Cry about it, religious people, but yeah, religious dogmatic people trying to force people into their religion and trying to assassinate the other leaders of the world. But the alliance and the kingdom, they're just people, normal people living there, and the people of the alliance and the people of the kingdom are all just great people, and despite being good people, they just fight against one another because it's a war that has been going on long for centuries. Nobody has even attempted to try peace talks. And that's kind of sad. That's kind of how things go. Attackontitan. I definitely think that Avatar Last Airbender could be considered better than Attack on Titan, but Avatar is such a long story, and I'll be honest, I don't remember a lot of stuff, but I just remember it being good. I just remember enjoying the really giant arcs, and then being kind of mildly bored or mildly enjoying certain small arcs. Basically, Attack on Titan is such a great story. I definitely enjoy Attack on Titan, and probably the reason I put it here more is the fact that it's much more brutal and doesn't have any kind of restrictions, whereas Avatar feels very corporational. It feels like it's directed being at a general audience and is holding its punches. Whereas Attack on Titan is fucking crazy. It even is considered by many as a horror story, but yeah, it kind of is. People being eaten by titans. It's pretty gruesome stuff, but it's less about it being horror and more about being just practical. If there were zombies or giant titans that eat people, it will be gruesome. It will look gruesome, and Attack on Titan doesn't shy away. And I also really like the mystery aspect. The secret behind the wall. What's the secret of the armor titan, the giant, the 15-meter tall titan? The mysteries are fantastic. The characters kind of start off not that interesting, but it still slowly becomes very interesting as they develop and is forced into a hard situation. It's really good. Unlike Avatar The Last Airbender, it didn't make me bored. And that's important because the viewing experience, of course, I'm not saying that fight, crazy fight, tension. I'm not a crazy tension guy. I'm just saying that there are some Avatar moments kind of missed, kind of very experimental and doesn't really do much, kind of very kiddie. Whereas in Attack on Titan, I definitely think if there wasn't a lot of action scenes, I still think there was a lot of mystery and a lot of cool and intense and interesting, very interesting moments. Season 4 doesn't have that much action, but the political intrigue and the character analysis is just so well done. I just feel very impressed. I feel very engaged into the story that I just binge it or just watch it weekly because it's just that interesting. I even went ahead and read the manga, and currently at the time of this recording, anime hasn't finished adapting the manga, but personally I really like the manga ending. I don't know what the hell the haters are hating. They don't like Eren being an incel, but other than that, what else excuse do I have? In fact, I really like the fact that Eren being an incel. I'm just making a funny joke about spoilers, but yeah, Eren says something that makes him look like an incel, but I genuinely really like that scene. I think Eren is an absolutely an ass human, but a fantastically written character. Eren is a racist nationalist, but he's a well-written racist and nationalist. Dragon Ball. I think I'll put it here, but this isn't just Super, it's just the general Dragon Ball. The original Dragon Ball is very pervy, it had some really fun moments too. The Dragon Ball Z, the story is good, kinda too straightforward for my taste. I definitely think the Saiyan Saga, the Frieza Saga were great. The Android Saga wasn't as good, but it's fine. Imagine Saga kinda dragged. It keeps dragging, the show, the Dragon Ball Z just keeps dragging. Even in the original Dragon Ball, it just keeps dragging. And again, the story is too simplistic. It kind of has that people punching each other storyline. It has cool moments and cool character moments, I get it. But at the same time, it also has some really boring and really mid moments. And in regards to Super, I really don't enjoy Super that much. Not only is the animation less good, I also just don't feel like there's nothing new in there. It's just treading old grounds no matter how it tries. Neon Genesis Evangelion. Yeah, yes, I should probably put this show even higher like this. But you know what? I'm not. There's definitely, like, the directing of the show is good for the most part. But like, towards the end, they did drop the ball. They were like, okay, we definitely, like, the show almost got cancelled, so the last 2 episodes are just like, okay, here's the point, I guess. And also, the story, as much as I like the character and the character analysis, the story is also episodic. There are some episodes that kind of feel like, nah. For the most part, there's a reason why it's S tier. The characters are very deep. It is such a cliche word to say, but in a way, everything is kind of deep. It's just that this show does a really good job at forcing Shinji and probably Asuka and some others too into hard decisions. And through those decision makings, they show who these characters are. And the characters also develop and change throughout the story in a very interesting manner. It's just a very emotional, very human story. Shinji, he doesn't like risking his life. He doesn't like the fact that his father is forcing him to drive this robot. But, he just gets in the robot because he wants to appease to his father. And then and throughout the story, his values kind of change. He learns a lot of stuff. And certain events even traumatize him into being more depressed, despite him learning certain stuff. I just put Attack on Titan a little too above Neon Genesis Evangelion because it manages to have both an interesting story and interesting characters, whereas the story of Evangelion is kind of too straightforward, not to my liking. I like complicated chessboards where lots of chess pieces are moving, but regardless of that, I still think it's a really good, solid story. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll, after a month or two, maybe I'll put it back here. Maybe after another rewatch, because I did watch Evangelion twice, but it's hard. Attack on Titan is, I think it's much longer story too. Does a lot of stuff in that story, in that time, that is just very much appreciated. Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood though, it's really good. It has a lot of interesting character moments, and it also has a lot of interesting themes, and the story have that chess feeling where lots of pieces are moving, lots of wars are being waged, lots of interesting stuff happening in a global sense. I definitely think it's less good as Evangelion in terms of character depth. Evangelion definitely explores the human psychology and people's needs and wants and their flaws really well. With shows like Fullmetal Alchemist, the external conflict and just the story just sinks into that. It doesn't have much time into focusing on the characters' flaws and what they could improve on. But regardless of that, I still think it's a really good story. And in general, the characters in Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood are just better people. Even then, the characters are really good, and there are still character development and really interesting life lessons to be learned in Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood 2. haikyuu is really good too. But the thing about sports anime is the fact that sometimes it just doesn't feel as deep as other shows because it's so easy to translate certain character values into other character values when you're doing an action, adventure, or political story, because your political opinions matter a lot, and the characters choosing to go against their friends or their previous factions and friends who do certain things says so much about your own values and what you hold dear in your heart. It says a lot about your personality, your inner being. Whereas with a sports anime, it just kind of, oh, I like playing the sport, so I just play. I don't have a particular political reason for doing it. I'm just doing it to have fun. Maybe it's a time waster. I don't know. Like the things that the sports players are doing doesn't feel that important. You get what I mean? They're just doing it because it's their hobby, or maybe they just thought that if they keep hitting the ball, they just get food on the table. Maybe they do what they enjoy and they get food on the table. Maybe that's their driving force. So that's kind of meh. But I'm not gonna focus on that. Instead, I'm going to focus on the gameplay. Because what's most impressive about haikyuu is the gameplay and how it manages to be semi-realistic. I mean, realistic for the most part. Yeah, and it also manages to develop and make all the characters relevant, because one of the problems with a lot of team sports anime is that only one or two characters kind of get screen time and that's it. The power scaling kind of gets out of hand really fast, but the haikyuu manages to make the characters learn new powers and new stuff, but while also managing to make all the characters useful. So that's really cool, and being in a reasonable level to real life. That's really impressive. And again, the gameplay is really cool, and even if I did say it's still restricted to sports themes, it still has a lot of interesting themes about, hey, I mean, this volleyball stuff is pretty useless. Why are we doing all this? Why are we trying too hard? So in that sense, I kind of feel the depth of full of Kuroko Basket and all the sports anime, because it's not about what you do. It's about doing whatever you are doing and enjoying it and doing it totally. Even if you're waging war against other people and you're killing a bunch of people of other country, do it totally, because the world is just like that. You are fighting because you're doing what you think is right. You're doing these things because you think it's important, and whatever you are doing is part of life. It's part of reality, and reality is beautiful. And being total in your actions, doing something totally, means you're appreciating life. And that's what sports anime is trying to teach you. Yeah, these guys are not going to make a lot of money. Maybe they're not going to go to the nationals. They're not going to go into NBA or I don't know, World League and become super rich. Maybe they won't get rich, but it doesn't matter. The future doesn't matter. You just hit the ball and you just enjoy the present moment. That's what sports anime is all about. And Jujutsukaisen. Okay, let me think about this. In terms of pure execution, it's probably something like this. I really, really enjoy Jujutsukaisen. It's so good. And again, I really enjoyed also the character writing of Jujutsukaisen too. Like I said previously, where the characters feel somewhat realistic. But I also really like the themes surrounding it, where these people could have had a simple life, doing a job, having some money, having an office job, making money, living a peaceful life, but they're endangering their own lives because that's the right thing to do. And the characters, the villains are also very interesting. They force the main characters to do hard decisions. That's cool. Gojo is such a fun character, and I really like the group chemistry of this group. You know, cool stuff. Action's great. It's just a really great shonen. Why am I not putting it above Devilman? Maybe I should, honestly, but I don't know. I think a second season is definitely needed. After a second season, I'll easily put it here, maybe about even here. But right now, it just feels like the prologue of a story. Whereas Devilman, even if it's 10 episodes, even if it's hella rushed, even if it has some themes that it could have explored, could have done better, it's still a very solid anime with an ending, with a good storyline. Whereas Jujutsukaisen is kind of, I definitely could have done this easy, but I don't know. I'm not. My body's not making me do this. Maybe I just cried too hard into Crybaby. Crybaby just made me really cry. That's probably why. Kuroko no Basketball. Yeah, it's really cool. I definitely think that Kuroko no Basketball's biggest advantage is the fact that it's a really cool story. It just manages to stand out from all the other sports anime by being so cool and being over the top. And also the anime adaptation is really good. Production IG, has done fantastic adaptations of these sports anime. And I have to say, I kind of appreciate haikyuu more. It's writing more because it's being restricted to reality, and also I really like its themes, and I also really like how the characters changing and learning small stuffs are improving their game plan significantly. Whereas with Kuroko no Basket, they're kind of becoming just superpowers, and then just transform into X-Men playing basketball. But regardless of that, I really like it. Kuroko no Basketball. It's cool. It's sports anime. The gameplay, you gotta enjoy the gameplay. My Hero Academia is pretty mid. Okay, I'm not going to put it below SAO. Maybe not. Maybe that's going a little too far. But hey, yeah, you kind of do realize that My Hero is really low, really low. Yeah, in comparison, it's really low because I have the action stories I am ranking, are really good. And the problem of My Hero Academia is that the training arcs are just so boring. It doesn't also help that the characters are very one note. And also, yeah, I fucking hate training arc. I mean, think about what happens. And also the villains are really shitty, really boring. I mean, yeah, I get it. The point is that they are boring and incompetent villains, but they start to get better or something. But the competition is getting so strong. You have to bring your A game from the start, okay? Like Jujutsukaisen, Demon Slayer, they all bring their A games from the get-go. There's My Hero is kind of not doing that. I mean, just think about the story. All Might gives Deku the power, the one for all powers, one for all powers, because he feels bad for him, and he gets a little bit of a special privilege. Okay, never mind that. So that's kind of awkward. And then Deku trains. He pushes a lot of block, and then he does an exam. He enters the school and he does training exam against Bakugo, training seriously, and then the villain's attack. And the villain attack is arguably the best and the most interesting arc of the first season. Not a whole lot happens. The villains didn't kill anyone. Nothing interesting drama happens. Nothing interesting is learned. Nothing interesting about the characters, about human psychology, about human nature is explored. So what happens in the second season? A tournament arc. A boring, very rushed, mediocre tournament arc. Legit, I've seen much better tournament arcs. The Torment Dark in Jujutsukaisen is just a placeholder for people trying to kill Itadori. Or the Torment Dark in Naruto is also does a lot of well things and explores a lot of interesting characters. And also the tournament gets interrupted and a lot of interesting stuff happens there. Whereas My Hero Academia is too goddamn straightforward. The story is so mind-bogglingly straightforward, and there's no tension or any feeling of importance. It almost feels like a sports anime at times. Seriously. But unlike haikyuu and Kuroko no Basketball, the fights are too simplistic from a gameplay standpoint. Like one-on-one V fights are so boring. Like compare that to haikyuu and Kuroko no Basket, the gameplay, the basketball, volleyball gameplay, and the tactics these sports anime use is so complex, it's so big brain. It's really awesome to watch, whereas My Hero Academia is just so boring and unimpressive. I really think it threw the ball away. It's such a mid show. Yeah, I mean it's not bad. Obviously, the problem of it isn't the plot holes. In fact, the problem really is a plot hole. SAO and My Hero Academia to me are very comparable. If anything, I think I'm being a little bit unfair to SAO because SAO is a lot more interesting. It doesn't have it has less fillers. It's only down here because it has a few plot holes and a few really dumb moments. That's the only reason why it's here. It feels certain rushed in certain writing. Its writing feels rushed in certain aspect. But other than that, that's the only reason it's here. If SAO was a little bit polished, and if the entire story arc revolved around the first half, it probably would have been here. I don't know. Fucking here, I don't know. Maybe it will be here. The fact that it's a dev game and it focuses so much on the characters and their emotions and their values and their people's relationship makes SAO so interesting, whereas My Hero Academia focuses on trainings, boring trainings, not fun trainings or fun gameplay like these sports anime, boring one-on-one fight training arcs. It's mid. It's very mid. Naruto is way better than My Hero. I mean, call me biased. Yes, I'm not going to fucking lie, okay? I did grow up. Yes, I did put it above Berserk. Cry about it. I could easily put it above here. Yeah, you know what? Yeah. I think it deserves this. It's high A, okay? Cry about it. I did put it above Gurren Lagann. I put it above Berserk, but who cares? I mean, people were saying that Attack on Titan is fucking amazing, and the season 4 is fucking amazing, blah blah blah. But do you guys remember the Pain arc? Do you guys remember the Kage Summit? Do you guys remember, the fucking the Valley fights, the old Sasuke versus Naruto fights, huh? Do you guys remember those moments? If you pick the best moments of Naruto, it can easily eclipse like the shows like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Does Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood have Naruto versus Sasuke? It doesn't have. It doesn't have an equivalent. If anything, I'm being very unfair to Naruto, but I have to put it down here because Naruto has so many bad filler and not so many bad moments. I mean, I kind of think about it. I could have put Vegeta Dragon Ball higher too, honestly, but I didn't grow up with Dragon Ball, and I still think Dragon Ball is too straightforward, whereas Naruto also had political drama, also had very interesting themes, also made me cry like a little bitch, and also very deep, and very stuff. I also really enjoy the power system. Like Hunter x Hunter fans can like eat it, but I think Naruto's power system is really well done, and I really enjoy it. It kind of has that similar appeal to Avatar: The Last Airbender, where certain cultural things and certain folklore and cultural traditional rituals and aspects are used in creating the power system. And the hand signs, the style is just so so nostalgic and so iconic to me. It's fantastic. And I really just like Naruto, Sasuke as characters too. Yeah, there's also a lot of interesting characters like Rock Lee, Shikamaru. Naruto has a lot of crazy good characters, man. The only problem with it is it just fucking drags the fillers, man. But it's okay because Naruto Kai exists. In fact, Naruto Kai's existence really makes me want to put Naruto really high. You know, call me a baby and call me biased because I grew up with Naruto. But yeah, like for the longest time, Naruto, when I was about what 14 or 12 years old, Naruto was probably one of my first ever anime I watched. And it was at certain point the only anime I watched. In fact, I binged the shit out of the pain arc, the Kage-sama arc. It was so fun. It was a blast. Noragami. Okay, too bad. I really, yeah, it's sad kind of that Yaro's head got sliced there. I think Noragami's comedy is just absolutely hilarious. It's also one of the shows where I just had to force me to go read the manga because I just fell in love with these characters so much that I really, really want to see the continuation. And the manga is really good too. I really wish for a season 3. Basically, this show has everything. It has action, it has drama, it doesn't have much horror. It kind of does. It also has horror, certain very horrific elements. And it has slice of life moments, good slice of life moments, not boring ones. And the characters are just very emotional, very lovable, and has every one of the characters have certain ideology, certain values in their certain lifestyles. It's really nice. The characters are very well fleshed out. And also I really like, I mean it's in the manga, but I also really like how the afterlife and how the god system is structured and explained. How gods are created, how people and the gods relationship, what are Shinki, what are blah blah blah. You know, the world building is fantastic in this show. It's very interesting. As an experience, Parasyte, the Maxim, it's really good. The show's really fucking good. Should I? You know what? Yeah, maybe I should. Like, maybe I'm being a little bit unfair to Jujutsukaisen because Jujutsukaisen is has a lot of good animation. It's a really very recent anime and it was adapted so well by Mappa. But I don't know. I kind of doesn't appreciate good animation that much. It seems I really appreciate depth. And one thing about the Parasyte is the fact that it just says so much interesting things about human beings, and the villains are also very interesting too. The villains are super logical. These parasites are super logical, and they're actually quite more logical and emotionless and super calculating compared to humans. But does that make them necessarily good or better than people? No, that's also a very interesting thing. Yeah, the show is really deep in terms of themes. I don't know. I think it just has very interesting character moments, interesting things to say about human nature. It explores so many aspects about the human psychology that I just can't seem to rank it low. Even if the ending is kind of dog shit, there are some contrivances towards the ending, but it's fine. It's small detail. It's a very small detail. Has to do with certain fights and whatnot. But other than that, yeah, it's really good. Ruby! Whoopee! Man, I have become a Ruby YouTuber, huh? If you guys didn't realize. So, Ruby, how will I rank it? Well, obviously, if you listen to the haters, Ruby sucks, right? Oh, yeah. Yeah, it sucks too. It sucks. It sucks so much to the point of being right next to Legend of the Galactic Heroes. That's how much of a higher opinion I have with Ruby. And I can't believe it. Like, I could just turn this entire video into fucking ranting about Ruby haters. Because to me, people Ruby haters and people like trash on Ruby are almost the same people who feel like people who are saying Ruby is trash. Ruby's dog shit, are on a similar level to people who are saying Legend of Galactic Hero is trash, or Attack on Titan is trash, or Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood is trash. Because, yeah, I think it's about that there. It's there, okay? First of all, I think the writing, the dialogue writing is extremely solid. Like there's so many aspects that about the writings that I really like. The lines of the characters, and I also really like the strange thing about Ruby is the fact that I managed to binge it in 4 days. And you might say, "Oh, you would like it because you binge it," but that's not true. If there's like something wrong with a show, it's hard for me to binge. For example, I binged the tournament arc of My Hero Academia, but I clearly know there wasn't anything deep going on there. I just enjoyed the gameplay aspect, or the certain character moments, or funny bits, and haha, I laughed off. And I look back and I realized, okay, what I watched wasn't really that great. But no, I'm currently rewatching Ruby right now, and I can tell you that it's still really fucking good. It basically adds a lot of interesting stuff from all other shows. Again, using different characters using different weapons and different fighting styles makes every character feel insanely unique, as well as the semblances remind me of JoJo, but again, really cool idea to make every character have a unique special ability, and also have magic at the same time, and also dust at the same time. That makes things a little bit confusing, but I really like it. And I also really like the fact that it never makes me feel bored. Like Naruto makes me feel bored a lot. It bored me a lot of the times, but Ruby never made me feel bored. If there's any point in me being bored, it is me listening to stupid and watching stupid videos where people try to shit on Ruby. That kind of made me bored because of the bad arguments. And also, but yeah, there's also the fact that certain fight scenes and certain animations, certain scenes of Ruby just fucking feel like AMVs. Like, no, fucking seriously. Attack on Titan is good, okay? But does Attack on Titan have certain scenes, like certain fights, not scenes, okay? Because Attack on Titan does have certain scenes that feel like an AMV, but Ruby has tons of scenes and fights that fucking feel like an AMV. It's just fucking insane. And the fight choreography, like people after Monty died, people have been like trying to keep his legacy, trying to have the same standard as Monty has, and has been doing a crazy job of being on that same level. Attack on Titan is really cool. It has a lot of good political drama, and it also a lot of cool tension. But I don't think the action is that interesting, whereas the action in Ruby is always interesting. Like even from a gameplay standpoint, okay? Like I have to differentiate good animation from good gameplay. Boku no Hero Academia has good animation, but the gameplay is so boring. It's so simplistic. Whereas the gameplay and the fight gameplay in Ruby is so complex and interesting. It's so interesting to see the characters and think about what they could have done or what they are doing. The characters move so fast. And I really like the fact that there's no inner thoughts. Inner thoughts or inner monologue, because a lot of problems of shonen shows have is that there's too much inner monologues. There's very little showing, and shows like My Hero Academia kind of suffers from that. There's too much training arcs, too much info dumping, too much information that could have been cut. Whereas in Ruby, yes, the characters say things to one another, but if you disregard, they say things to one another that's absolutely crucial. And at the other times, during fights, they don't talk, they just fight. Even if they talk, in later volumes, they kind of talk more. But even in those talky moments, I really enjoyed it because it's either comedy or it's very a very snacky dialogue. Like Tyrion talks a lot when he fights, but it fits his character a lot. He says a lot of cool snacky shit. There are also instances where good guys are trying to fight one another and try to talk no jutsu one another. That also happens. And also, Ruby has a lot of good political drama, just like Attack on Titan. I definitely think that Attack on Titan is much more brutal in comparison to Ruby. Ruby is also kind of brutal too. It's still decently brutal and not as it's not as kiddie as Avatar. It doesn't feel as kiddie as Avatar. But at the same time, I also wish it was more like one like Attack on Titan. Like, I fucking don't care. Just fucking make this a horror film. Like, I don't care. And Ruby does have a few scenes that feel like horror. And yeah, the Grimms are also very horrific creatures. Yeah, and also the main characters are also very likable. I really like them. There's also a lot of depth in what characters say, what characters do. Lots of themes are being explored. And again, similar to Legend of the Galactic Heroes and Noragami shows like that, the show doesn't restrict itself to certain genres. It becomes a slice of life. It becomes a comedy, it becomes a horror, it becomes of course, a political drama. Most of it is action, but it changes genres very easily. I really, really enjoy that. And it's so hard for me to find a show where I enjoy every aspect of Whereas with shows like My Hero Academia, I enjoyed certain moments, certain dramatic moments, and certain dramatic scenes, like, for example, All Might versus One for All, or All for One, whatever. Those scenes were very good, but unfortunately the fight gameplay kind of sucked. But regardless of that, the emotions were there. For example, Deku versus Todoroki, the emotions were there. I really like it. But there are also so many aspects that I don't like. I don't enjoy the fucking fights. They're too god-awfully simplistic. They seem very simplistic, unimpressive. Whereas Ruby, its comedy impresses me, its slice of life impresses me, its political commentary impresses me. Yeah, its horror elements also impresses me too. It's really well done. It's just a really, really well made show. And it also has a really promising future too, because it's also being done in Maya, and Maya is just, I'm sorry 2D animation, but 3D animation done right like Ruby is just fucking phenomenal. You can't catch up to it, because after Volume 6, the show just started looking perfect. Like Volume 4, it started looking really great from Volume 4, but there were some small details missing. I guess there are certain things I will improve in the animation category, maybe in Volume 6, but those are very, very small stuff. Other than that, the characters just look absolutely perfect. The character designs have that anime look, and it just has the perfect feel, and it doesn't drop frames because it's not hand drawn. So long as the people who are animating know how to use Maya and know how to move the characters, they can do whatever they want, and it's fantastic. And yeah, the haters gonna hate, but fuck them haters. It really isn't that many shows that have such great fights. I mean, Avatar is a great show, but how many fights do you remember from Avatar? Like, Avatar is such a long show, but even in that long show, the fights, there aren't that many like amazing jaw-dropping fights, whereas in the Ruby, there's stupidly amount of jaw-dropping fights, even though it's very short. Ruby episodes are very, very, very short in comparison to Gurren Lagann. Gurren Lagann has 27 episodes or so, and I think Ruby is about 8 volumes, and the problem is that it's kind of hard to calculate how long Ruby is, but I think it's good 30. It's 40 episodes at best. I actually think it's lower than 40 episodes, and it does so many stuff in such a short time. It's so cool. The people who think Volume 4 and Volume 5 dragged, like, these people need to fidget spinner. These people need to go back to TikTok. Because have you fucking watched My Hero Academia? How bad its pacing is? Huh? Have you watched My Hero Academia? How shit its pacing is? Even Avatar, The Last Airbender, has shit pacing and boring scenes a lot of the times, regardless of people hyping it. Even Demon Slayer drags in certain parts. Ruby, I genuinely think it didn't drag. Even during slice of life relaxation moments, it had depth, okay? It had depth. John Bully arc, depth, has depth. The dance, the ball dance, it had depth, okay? Evangelion rebuild movies. Holy fucking shit. Oh god, where the hell am I supposed to place this? Okay, so it's really hard for me to rank this show because, first of all, they're movies, and second of all, so much of it is inspired and so much information is used from the original Evangelion. And people complain about how Asuka's backstory isn't present in this version, or blah blah blah. Shinji's Misato's backstory isn't well done, blah blah blah. Like, dude, shut the fuck up! Because Misato and Asuka's backstories has been explored in the original trilogy. What am I saying? The original story. So in this movies, there's no need to explore Asuka and Misato's backstory because it's the same. They're the same characters. They have the same backstory. It's just that the current movie events kind of diverge from the story. In the first movie, it basically diverges only in small parts. And from the second part, it diverges. But I think what makes this rebuild movies much more debatable, like if suddenly this movie production stopped at the third movie, I would have said, yeah, the original series plus in the end of Evangelion is probably better. But after the final movie was so fucking good in terms of character analysis and ending the series that I just can't stop but loving it. In fact, dare I say it, the fourth movie is better than End of Evangelion. End of Evangelion is just depression fest. It's just Shinji being depressed and doing damn depressing shit, whereas Nerve goes to shit. That's the entire plot of End of Evangelion. Let's be fucking honest. End of Evangelion has, good 2D animation that doesn't age, whereas the animation in Rebuild kind of doesn't look as good as the End of Evangelion at certain points. But the story, the heart, End of Evangelion is just fucking a spectacle creep. Shinji just fucking feels depressed, shits himself for the most part. Asuka was fucking depressed, and then she suddenly wakes up and she suddenly realizes that her mother loves her and starts fighting and blah 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 blah. Starts beating the shit out of the prototype Eva units. That's kind of weird. Whereas in this version, even if there's a time skip, yeah, I guess it doesn't dwell on Asuka's flaws that much. But you don't have to. Asuka from the original series is Brat. Asuka in the fourth movie is a fine lady that I can tap her ass because she's legal. She's legal now, yes. Yeah, so she's just a mature woman now with a bit of an attitude. And yeah, I think I really enjoyed that. I think it just shows the themes of, appreciating life, what you have, appreciating reality. The whole point of Evangelion is about appreciating reality, appreciating the life you have, appreciating yourself and those around you. And I think the final movie hammered that fact so well and so much better than the original series in some regards that I just can't seem to hate it or say it's worse than the original series. But for the sake of an argument, I have to put the original series above here because it also manages to explore Shinji and every character's flaws so well. And even if it's depressing as fuck, even if these characters are not to be idolized, these characters don't go up They don't show you how to go up. They show you how to go down. Okay, that's kind of what's cancerous about the Evangelion. As much as I want to say, oh, Evangelion is such a well-made story, it's a show about, people going down into a hole, people going down into depression and all that, depression, suicidal thoughts, self-hatred, and all those nasty stuff. It's about people going down. It's kind of like school days in that sense. As much as I appreciate its execution, the story is about people going down. It's never about going to a higher consciousness. It's not about understanding yourself or becoming a higher energy or become a higher consciousness. It's about going downwards. It's about suicide. It's about depression. It's about self-hatred. It's about escape from reality. And as much as I enjoy and appreciate the original Eva, I have to appreciate that its themes and the characters are very flawed and to be not idealized. Whereas of course, even in I genuinely think that idealizing someone is kind of wrong. You should be follow yourself. In fact, that's kind of what Ruby Rose's development in Ruby is. She starts doing whatever she wants, even if it's against the rules, against what her teammates or her allies think. Ruby fucking does what Ruby wants. And I wish people would be more like that. And Shinji kind of becomes that towards the end. And even if, and I'm not saying idealize Shinji's decisions too, because, be yourself. And Shinji does be himself. And that's why he was, able to do what he did in the final movie. And I think even if people are saying, oh, Shinji became a child, blah, 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 you know what? Good for him. Good for him. Because boring Shinji, suicidal Shinji is cringe, okay? Suicidal, depressed Shinji has been idealized for too long by the Eva community. Fuck depressed Shinji, okay? I want my chat Shinji, and chat Shinji is cool. Even if it's in the movie format, even if, it's a bit of a rush, the heart is right. And I definitely think, Anno could have made this fucking thing into a series instead of a TV show, into a movie. But, thanks to it being a movie, we got some Sakuga, so that's it. But, regardless of that, I really like it, and I definitely think the rebuild movies should be appreciated. They're not to be hated. They're on par. They're equal. They're equals. The shows are equals to me. And to some others, maybe these shows are equals too. I mean, if I just fucking throw away all the fillers of Naruto, maybe I can easily just cherry pick all the good parts of Naruto. Maybe it'll be fucking here. Maybe it'll be fucking here. I don't know. Yeah, it might be even here if I just cherry pick every single good part of Naruto and just magically imagine that all the animation suddenly become better. It might be in here, but no. Mishako can say, okay, this is one of those shows where the story is that interesting. Let's be fucking honest. But it definitely has the similar energy to Demon Slayer and Noragami, that it doesn't hold itself into a genre, and even if it's a slice of life moment, it still has a really cute or really wholesome or really engaging scenes. But it's not that deep. It's not that deep, or at least until now. But regardless of that, I still think the story is getting way more interesting. I definitely don't think it deserves the anime of the year. I definitely think Attack on Titan is way better than it. But you know what? Let's do this. Okay, I just want to push Jujutsukaisen so higher, but it's hard. Yeah, I really like Devilman, okay? Yeah, Mushoku Tensei, it's good. It's a really good, solid show. I guess the problem, it's not really a problem, but again, it has the same problems. I mean, it's a problem only if we want to see it as a problem, but it's not putting its A game from the start. It starts off really slow, kinda. But I just, watch it because it's well executed. The animation's good. And the main character is kind of funny. That's the reason I watched it. But I also kind of did get bored at certain points, not gonna lie. And regardless of that, it's a very well executed adaptation. The adaptation is also like really good. You have to understand that. And even if regardless of the adaptation, the story doesn't really have anything wrong with it. You know, yeah, Rudius is a fucking panty thief, but cry about it. But you know, Ruby is a murderer who killed rebels. You know, basically Ruby just fucking killed violent protesters and lied to his teammates and stole a government airship. These people are fucking murderers. These people committed genocides, if anything, and has killed dozens of soldiers either for commanding them or killing them. Edward probably killed a bunch of people. I mean, Aang is the biggest hypocrite. Okay, I think Aang's hypocrisy of the final arc. Okay, I'm going to go on a tangent here, but Aang is a fucking hypocrite. Okay, I think the show writers didn't understand this, but him at the finale hesitating to kill the Lord Ozai is kind of fucking dumb because he has been killing all those soldiers all that time, and when he's about there trying to kill this 100 evil bad guy who's just power hungry bastard who has very little redeeming quality. He's just, ooh, I don't want to kill somebody. Ooh, that's so scary. That feels so wrong. Bro, you have been killing people this whole time. That's what you have been doing with your super powerful airbending. Don't fucking cry about it that you didn't kill anybody. And fucking Naruto killed certain people, He fucking one-shot Kakuzu and with his Rasen Shuriken, And he said no. And the only thing he said is, GG's, bro. He fucking killed a lot of people. Yeah, he tried to talk no jutsu, but he only tried to talk no jutsu people who were worth talk no jutsu and who felt like they were had a good heart, but were just misguided. He tried to talk to them, but with absolute bastards, he just fucking Rasengan the shit out of them and killed them. Cry about it, Aang. And I will say, like I said, going back to Mushoku Tensei, yes, our main character Rudius smells panties and is horny as fuck and just flirty with little girls. But it's nature doing its business. His hormones, he doesn't assault anyone. He isn't like he only uses and kills people out of self-defense or in order to do the right thing. At the end of the day, that's what makes characters interesting. I like main characters, being flawed. Why don't people even make a fuss about Mushoku Tensei? Why don't people make a fuss about Attack on Titan? Okay, it kind of did. So, okay, so people did, criticize and make a fuss about Attack on Titan, but fuck it. Fuck that shit. But never mind. Don't make a fuss about it, okay? It's fiction, and at the end of the day, if you were a fucking horny male, you would fucking feel horny for certain people, and those fucking moralists and those Karens are restricted and suppressing their own horny feelings too. I bet they're fucking feel lusting over little girls if they were truly honest fucking bastards. Again, just saying, those fucking Karens are acting like that as if they don't feel any sex or sexual desires. Yeah, that's a rant over, I guess. But yeah, it's a very well executed story. The animation is really good. The characters are really likable, and it just feels like such a rich world. The problem with isekai is that, like Sword Art Online, it tries to rush too much. I definitely think what kind of made the isekai kind of meh was the fact that it also kind of did rush a lot and didn't know how to fill in stuff with a more interesting story. Whereas Mushoku Tensei has slower parts, but I don't know, it's kind of more, it feels more tight in the long run. slower stories feel more tight in the long run, and the world building feels really great. And also, they put a lot of effort into creating that that fantasy world. Whereas even in the Sword Art Online, you could see there was kind of not trying hard enough to create a good, MMORPG fantasy spell system. Whereas in the Mushoku Tensei's world, it feels very real. Yeah, okay. People are going to shit on this now, but I have to place this down below because One Punch Man has great animation, but the story, aside from like a little bit of drama and psychology from Saitama, is very fucking boring. And the comedy is cool too, but I think the comedy is the reason why I'll put it above My Hero Academia. But yeah, these shows I just really enjoy more. Whereas with One Punch Man, this guy just punches the shit out of everything and is still bored. But I still think even if what I'm putting it there, One Punch Man, like Saitama, being bored and being not content with himself, not being content with life, is a very important message. It just goes to show that even if you were the strongest in the world and you had everything you want, you will still not feel satisfied. And that's such a good theme too. And it's such a good thing that people have to keep in mind. But disregarding that, the show doesn't have much of a plot. Its comedy is very hit and miss. And again, the story isn't very good. And it doesn't help that these shows, I really like the shows on B as well. So it's kind of really hard for me to put it above. The comedy just kind of fell flat on its face at certain points. And also, yeah, the world building feels kind of fakey. I don't know. The characters feel very one note. Very characters that just feel very comedic and only exist in the comedic universe. Whereas Noragama has funny comedy, but the characters also feel very, real, very emotional, very human. Whereas the characters are fine, they're good. But I think Saitama just kind of makes all the tension very boring. And they still keep focusing on the fights, even though we all know that Saitama is going to punch the shit out of everyone. And again, I only watched the first season, and the second season kind of looks mid. And let's be fucking honest, the animation was all the saving grace of the anime. Like, let's be fucking honest, man. People not watching season 2 of One Punch Man just kind of proves that the reason people hyped it up and the people who reason enjoyed it so much is mostly because of the animation. In season 2, they just kind of either they got bored of the concept of Saitama being overpowered, or either the animation was just such a big factor. Ping pong, the animation goes. Yeah, cry about it. Noragami, Yato, and the things Yato is doing and the dramas he's going through is so hard and so traumatizing, and his life has been a constant misery of people killing people, and his past is haunting him, and that's such a good thing. Why am I such an interesting thing? Why am I talking about this? It's because the fucking sports anime themes are so fucking boring. I hate this talent versus hard work theme. It has been explored to death, and people aren't saying something that's so obvious to say. Oh, I'm sorry, Pico. You didn't train enough, and now you lost a few games, and now you're crying about it because you're not the best in the world. Cry about it, Pico. Cry about it. No, seriously. I can look at the Chinese player who's crying about it. Look at Pico who's throwing away his hobby and being depressed. The only thing I want to say to these fucking people are cry about it. This is a first world problems, okay? First world problems. In Attack on Titan, people are being discriminated. They're being genocided. So much so that Eren gets fucking fed up with it and just starts to rumbling. Okay, these are fucking hard lives. Like Team in Ruby, okay, they have to lie, cheat to survive. Team Ruby has to do all sorts of immoral shit just to do the right thing, just to save these people from being killed by either Salem or some crazy dictator. Okay. And then in this fucking Peko comes here and he goes, "Oh, I'm so bad at this game I'm so bad at tennis. I'm so bad at table tennis, but I want to be good at it, but I'm also really bad." Cry about it. And the solution was so fucking easy. Just train. Stop crying about it. If you really enjoy it, just stop fucking crying about it. Stop desiring. Just sit down, relax, listen to your heart, listen to your soul, and fucking play ping pong. If you really enjoy it that much, you don't have to be good. That's the fucking thing about this fucking driving me nuts. Your desire to become the world's best, your desire to win is a problem. Even ping pong, let me see this right now. Winning is not important. Enjoying the sport is important. And yeah, I get it. Ping pong kind of says the same thing too, but at the same time, I wish the characters themselves said it through words. I definitely think that, certain elements are kind of gets confusing when you're trying to be too show don't tell. I don't mind the shows being a little bit talky when it comes to themes and making people understand. Okay, importance of asking whether you should kill King Ozai or whatever, that Aang's pacifist crisis that happened in the finale of Avatar is good, but it's good. It's a good story and concept. I'm sorry I shat on it, but I think what's the problem with that scene was the fact that Aang should have just admitted that, yeah, I was kind of killing, and I kind of feel guilty about it. Maybe that's the wrong thing. That's the thing. That Aang should have just fucking admitted that, yeah, I've been killing. I just never considered about saving people's lives, even the villains. And that's not a bad thing. If anything, I think considering the finale and how Aang solved the situation, I think it's really good. But yeah, compared to that, the freaking ping pong animation just tries to be too subtle. It just doesn't fucking scream and just enjoy fucking playing ping pong. Who cares about winning and losing? Okay? I mean, yeah, it kind of shows that towards the end, but at the same time, it just feels like a no-brainer to me. And it's an 11-episode show. Maybe my complaints are kind of dog shit. Maybe, I guess, in that aspect, enjoying tennis, it definitely does that send the message a lot faster than other sports anime. So in that sense, I have to put it about here. But at the same time, haikyuu really should be about ping pong for the gameplay alone. But I think ping pong just manages to find the heart of sports anime, and it has some really good directing moments. So yeah, I'm just like, this talking session has been a therapy for myself, because I'm trying to sort out my own feelings for the show, and talking to myself on camera has helped me go through a therapy. Ping pong is a good show. At the end of the day, it's a deep show, and the reason it's about these two is because it says the most important message about sports, about enjoying yourself, and it tells it in a more artistic manner. So in that sense, yeah, Shield Hero is easily going to be the worst rated anime of here. Yeah, it's still C. You know what? Okay, I'll put it at D. This is the first D. If you're worst Shield Hero, you go to D. I really had high hopes for Shield Hero, man. But the fucking problem with Shield Hero is the fact that the first 4 episodes are fucking good. In fact, my recommendation for Shield Hero is that just consider the first 4 episodes to be a movie and just stop. Watch the first 4 episodes. The revenge plot is so meaningless, because the villains are just become so pathetic and so dumb, so useless and so boring towards the end. Towards the more the story progresses, they become more incompetent, and now you're getting his revenge on them. It just feels like nothing. He just feels, yeah, I kind of made fun of you, and yeah, I get it. That's how revenge stories feel. But I also feel like the story kind of doesn't have the self-awareness. It doesn't just say, oomph. It doesn't like make the viewers understand that this whole revenge business was meaningless. It doesn't say anything about revenge. Attack on Titan, Naruto says something about revenge. But fucking, Shield Hero doesn't say anything about revenge. Naruto gets his revenge, but nothing is commentated on it. Naruto doesn't say something about it. Something isn't. The story doesn't get framed in a way that certain characters or Naruto understands that like the pointlessness of revenge. And as much as I really liked how Naruto is being called out on the fourth episode, beyond that, the author just didn't know how to continue the story. So it's just random bullshit happening. They go on a random bullshit adventure. They just improve this, that. It just fucking feels like a bad RPG story, okay? And they stop the fight. They go through the waves and just fight a bunch of villains. Yeah, they struggle. Yes, the fights happens. But fights happen all the time. It happens in My Hero. It happens in Dragon Ball. It happens in every fucking shonen. And all these shonen and action stories that are about it has those, but it's much more deeper. It's way more deeper. It has something more to say about it. And Shield Hero has decent action, but it just doesn't have anything interesting to say. It's even more mind-blowingly boring, mind-blowingly straightforward compared to even something like JoJo's. I would even give negative points to Shield Hero for giving the wrong messages. Naofumi is an asshole. He's still like doesn't treat people well, but simply by the virtue of other people being incompetent and other people being assholes, now he looks better. Like Naofumi is Mary Sue, okay? It really pains me to say it, but Naofumi, I really love Naofumi, okay? I really enjoyed Naofumi's character throughout Shield Hero. In fact, Raftalia and Naofumi are what makes Shield Hero so enjoyable to me. But regardless of that, I will say Naofumi is a Mary Sue. He is by definition a Mary Sue. And Mary Sue is not about being overpowered like, One Punch Man. One Punch Man is a very clear example of not being a Mary Sue, where the character is so OP, but people are being like so criticizing of him, people are jealous of him. The society is so critical of him. So in that sense, like the society exists without Saitama. Saitama is just fucking OP and exists in the universe. And people, some people hate him, some people love him, some people appreciate him, some people just feel very wishy-washy about him. That's life. Whereas the characters in the Shield Hero are so bad. If I will categorize characters in the Shield Hero, it will be characters who simp for Naofumi, and characters who hate Naofumi, but those characters who hate Naofumi are in context exist just to make Naofumi look better. And I really don't want to put words in the author's mouth, but I just can't ignore that meta contextual context and of how the author tried to make Naofumi, the world revolved around Naofumi. Everyone who doesn't agree with Naofumi, everyone who has a negative opinion of Naofumi becomes so incompetent. Everyone has a good opinion of Naofumi becomes a simp for him. I don't like that aspect. Fate Stay Night. Fate Stay Night, Unlimited Blade Works in terms of animation is absolutely fantastic. But I don't know, I think what I really enjoy is the fact that I enjoy the characters. And what kind of gripes me about Fate Stay Night, at least the adaptation, is that I think a lot of things about Emiya's character has been lost in translation because a lot of inner monologues were needed to understand Emiya, and then just doing a one-for-one adaptation just kind of made certain subtle aspects less apparent. That's one problem. The other problem is that it's way too battle royale-ish. The characters don't interact with one another that much. Aside from our main group, the other characters just become villains, and then you just beat the villains. They have very little screen time, very little moves to them, but they get beaten up, blah blah blah, and they Oh, also yeah, I'm just going to do this. It's like I'm kind of thinking about what's my values, because do I value animation more? Do I value character or depth more? Depth, yeah, I really like this word, depth, because the story is like the political aspect of something is like the political aspect of the gameplay, I would say, like the gameplay and the chess aspect of the stories are what I will consider to be a plot, the major plot, and these are kind of like a gameplay aspect. But what's really more important to me is depth, character, emotional depth. Emotional depth is related to the story and the characters, and for me, I feel for the characters of Noragami. So in that sense, I really want to push it here because these shows have great animation, but I really want to push them down because in terms of story, there's nothing has progressed. In terms of emotional depth, I don't like. Yeah, I enjoy Rudis, and I respect Emiya, and I simp for Tosaka, but I don't know. I don't feel the emotional depth from them, and I think one of the most interesting aspect of Unlimited Blade Works is towards the finale where Archer and Emiya fight. That's a really good fight, and that's also a really great theme. But the problem with that story is that why does the story have to be a death game? Because if you could center around this entire story about Emiya trying to be a hero. Like I genuinely think Emiya's story should be something like a Marvel movie where Emiya becomes a superhero and tries to save people around the world. That should be the story of Fate Stay Night, in my opinion. Then Archie comes in and Archie tries to fucking kill, and Tosaka and Archie try to kill Emiya for whatever reason. Maybe they think Emiya is a threat, something like that. That would be a fucking great story. I think the death game aspect just kind of gets in the way of the themes of the characters, because how does a death game relate to Emiya being a hero? I guess him trying to save, for example, Tosaka, befriending Tosaka, not trying to kill her, and also trying to save Ilya when she gets stabbed by Gilgamesh is a great character moment for him. But at the same time, I kind of wish Emiya had more control over the plot. Shiro had more control over the plot, and the plot focused mostly on Emiya being a hero, because this death game stuff is just kind of boring, not gonna lie. Yeah, it's hard to say, but death games are boring. Battle royals are boring. Battle royals are only good if you focus on all the characters and you make a very interesting gameplay out of it. Lots of actions happen, and a lot of interesting gameplay, story, lots of interesting plot gameplay happens. But mind games happen between characters. Fate Stay Night isn't very great at mind games. It has some interesting themes and cool fights towards the end. But it's still a very good story regardless. It's a very good watch. I definitely think you should skip forward, because my opinions are completely shifting. Like it's these Mushoku Tensei and Unlimited Blade Works are, those shows have great animation, but the story is very detailed. But I definitely think the story kind of drags or isn't as interesting, to me at least. And I don't feel very strong emotional characters as I do with characters like Noragami. In fact, if it weren't for the emotional connection, Noragami was down here, but I don't know, I kind of really like the characters in Noragami. Okay, Tokyo Ghoul. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think this is more accurate. I think that the first part of Tokyo Ghoul, it was really good, and kind of keep becoming a ghoul and trying to live as a ghoul and trying to live in this true world was very interesting. But I think it kind of just fell off. But basically, after Kaneki gets tortured, I mean, Kaneki getting tortured is a very gruesome, edgy scene. But at the same time, it kind of is pointless. It just goes to show, to emphasize Kaneki's pain. And I'll be honest, there are very few shows where a torture scene gets adapted that much in detail. So I guess that's unique in that aspect. But afterwards, after Kaneki becomes white-haired, he kind of loses all emotions, and his decision to join the Auguri tree is kind of blah. That's kind of a blah thing, and yeah, it kind of also shifts into other characters and says something like, "Oh, we're just fighting each other for no reason," and glassy sky, the goal, the broken pieces of me. And even if Tokyo Ghoul Route A is kind of bad and has really, really confusing moments that doesn't make any sense, they just fucking release that fucking jacked long-haired guy. They released the Kaneki's team, released the guy, and that guy just punches the shit out of Kaneki. And I have no idea what the hell is happening. Tokyo Ghoul Route A just does a really bad job at explaining what the hell is going on. But at the same, it tried hard to be artsy, okay? Like people kind of simple and just boggle over shows like Serious Experiment Lane and I don't know, fucking Wonder Egg or Penguin Drum, those symbolism shows. Tokyo Ghoul Route A just felt like that. It feels so confusing, and you just have a confusing time on trying to understand why the characters are doing the things they are doing, or how does this certain scenes affect the overall plot, and you just feel so confused. But yeah, regardless of that, I kind of get the message. I kind of understand the feel, and it does have some very emotional moments. I get it, but the animation is kind of crappy at certain points, especially in the second season. And yeah, it's not that deep. I guess yeah, it's very confusing. The characters are very confusing. And the story is very confusing. I just don't understand it very well. And yeah, the story is just a mess. I try to understand it, but it's a mess. It's a mess. But it does have some very emotional scenes, so I have to put it here. I could easily put it here, maybe even here. But would I do it? I am considering it. But nah, it's here. Maybe I could go. Maybe I could give it a little bit of a benefit of the doubt. But man, it fell off. It fell off. Like at least the first season is just of series good. It fell off in the second season, but the first season, I'm ranking the first season. Bacano! I really wish I could put Bacano higher, but it's honestly deserves to be here. The more I think about it, because let's be fucking honest, what's so impressive about Bacano? Gurren Lagann has depth, okay? It has depth, and also very enjoyable, likable characters. And when it has, again, Gurren Lagann has depth. It talks about society, it talks about people's evolution, it talks about lots of other important stuff. They're both really cool stories, but Bacano is just violence. And let's be fucking honest, okay? The immortal story in the first 1930 story where this guy tries to fight against these immortals. it's kind of okay. It's kind of like whatever. 1942, where this guy tries to search for her brother, is so fucking boring. The only like reason this show feels very complex is because it's just like a jigsaw puzzle. Like they just put a bunch of they just put three different stories. They sliced it up, they jumbled it up, and turned it into a puzzle. Yeah, the puzzle aspect is kind of makes it cool, but it's such a whatever experience. Plus, I don't think the mystery aspect is not as crazy as some other shows such as Attack on Titan. It's not that impressive. If anything, it's just confusing, and the events of 1942 is seriously not mandatory at all. And again, it's just everyone just fucking cares about the train arc, man. You know, the train gets hijacked by the mafia, blah blah blah. This mafia tries to kill, attacks as the citizens, and then Class Starfield tries to beat the shit out of the mafia and then stops them, and then a bunch of shit out. There's also other mafia members, blah 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 blah. You know, it's just crazy people trying to kill each other, and it's hella fun. It's mindless fun, okay? Bahamuto. You know what? I think this is way accurate, okay? Bahamuto is just like Bakano. It has some depth too. I mean, it's not as cool, but at the same time, it kind of becomes really crazy towards the end. Really blah. But I don't fucking know. I definitely like dig the Western style of Bakano a lot. That's probably why it's about Bahamut. Bahamut is also like this show. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed watching this show a lot, but I still can't put it about that high, simply because they don't have that much depth. They don't have depth. Okay, they don't say something about life and society. Bahamut is just a fun fantasy adventure that has some cool. Demons and just magical powers, wizards being there. It's fine, it's cool. From something that's been adapted from the card games, it's cool. I definitely think, yeah, it's definitely enjoyable show. I don't know, I think the production values and the style back now is really impressive. And even if I did criticize the pretentiousness of back now, I still really enjoyed it. So yeah, Code Geass. 自分を世界さえも耐えてしまいそうだ. Okay, I'm very conflicted on where to put it because my opinions on Code Geass have been shifting tremendously. So much so to the point that I don't even know where the fuck I'm supposed to put it. There are some really impressive moments, some impressive character moments, but at the same time, I just feel like, what the fuck? Yeah, okay, this show is like, these plot holes are so dumb, or these fucking actions the characters take are so weird, I don't understand them very well. There are some, like, really weird decisions and character decisions that I just don't understand. Characters kind of like make the mental changes too fast, but at the same time, I really can't help but appreciate it. This show is smart, okay? It's still smart to a certain extent, just not always, but at the same time, it also has some really dumb shit in it that I just can't help but feel appalled by it. But I think a high A is very worth it for the show. Very fitting for the show, I would say. Do I have to put Naruto down? Because it's so weird, because Naruto, like Code Geass, is a much tighter experience than Naruto, okay? But at the same time, it's such a fucking mess. It's a train wreck of a story. Whereas Naruto, the story isn't necessarily a train wreck, but it has so many fillers and so many bad pacing. It's kind of ridiculous, okay? But still, I think if I follow my feelings, it'll be something like these. Because I did have a lot of feelings for the characters of Code Geass as well. I mean, these shows are really good, and I could like switch them back and forth, but yeah. Cowboy Bebop! And I going back to Geass, I really enjoy Lucius' characters, how he was forced to make so many hard decisions. He was forced to learn so many lessons, and he starts off selfish and then just tries to help the world, but then the world goes against him. And even as the viewer, you kind of always have a mystery of what Lucius' values are, and Lucius' master Lucius wears, and how he becomes this amazing actor who starts off acting very good to other people and betrays all those people he trusted, all those people that trusted him to do the right thing. It's just so crazy. It's crazy. Code Geass is very crazy anime. If you can get past, maybe it deserves this, And again, Cowboy Bebop. It's a really good story. Now, how much did I fucking enjoy it? Okay. Now some strange opinions coming out because some people really enjoy Bakano, and Bakano is very enjoyable too. Fuck. It's so hard. It almost feels like I did Bakano dirty. Come to think about it, because Cowboy Bebop has a very similar energy to Bakano, but the difference is that I think Cowboy Bebop has depth. Okay, it has that feelings, and it just shows the lives of these people. Even if it's episodic, it explores so many different themes, so many different feelings. And it doesn't try to be fucking pretentious like Bakano, so that I kind of feel a lot more appreciation to it. Whereas Bakano, I enjoyed the rule of cool, witty exchanges, the witty dialogue, but it lacks depth. It's just kind of violence, mafias killing each other. So in that sense, I definitely think that Cowboy Bebop is really emotional and really good. It also doesn't help that Cowboy Bebop came out way back. So from a historical standpoint too, it's very appreciated. But I'm not focused on that. I don't care about historical importance. I care about what we have, the true quality, that the quality experience the show can give to our people. And I definitely think that Cowboy Bebop is a show that's deep, and the show has a lot. It's very playful, has a very different, gives a lot of different tones and different themes and atmosphere. It's a very fun show. I kind of had a problem binging it, but at the same time, looking back, I really learned a lot. I really enjoyed it. Danganronpa 3, the fucking anime, is gonna be our first D rank. This show's bad. The animation is not good. The opening is actually really, really fucking good. It hardly matters. And it's a death game. It's a death game with shitty villains, where one-dimensional villains being brainwashed and doing dumb stuff. And as I like Danganronpa, this is not good. This is not great. Doesn't have that much plot hole or anything, but I really don't fucking like the brainwashing aspect of this show. That just ruins all the character depth and the understanding we could have had. At least Shield Hero had production values. This show doesn't look very great. Oh man, you guys are fucking going to hit me for this, man. Hunter x Hunter made me bored quite a few times. That as will put it at B. The adaptation of Hunter x Hunter is really good, okay? But you have got to be shitting me, because this show has so many mid moments in story. Like Hunter exam is mid, okay? The Chunin exam is has depth, okay? People can shit on Kishimoto for copying Hunter x Hunter or Togashi, whatever. But to me, Kishimoto improved the Hunter exams, okay? Listen well to me. Kishimoto, okay, what happens in the Hunter x Hunter exam and what happens in the tuning exam. Think about it. In the tuning exam, the first thing happens is the writing test. And the writing test tests the mentality, ability to steal information, which is very important for ninjas, whereas in the first hunter exam, they just run. It's very brain dead. And it also doesn't help that it doesn't come up very much. Whereas information collecting kind of like happens a lot, especially like it matters a lot, especially in your early Naruto. Yes, for the more the story progresses, the characters become so OP that the information still basically doesn't matter. But for the most part, the information still in. Being a ninja is very important. So these exams are very related to the character's need of being a ninja. And after that, and the exam is very interesting. It has nothing to do with Hunter x Hunter, and it's so well done. Whereas Hunter x Hunter, going on a going on a long path and just walking and walking, it's so fucking boring, man. It's not as impressive as other shonen stuff. And afterwards, they do fights. And Gon fights and he passes out. Gon wakes up and he has explained to us to what happened in those fights. Very boring. And even before that, there was this team battles, just kind of like blah. It's very kind of feels boring, kind of feels tensionless. Whereas, yes, there were team fights in Naruto in the Forest of Death. But remember, it's a Forest of Death where 12 years old has to risk their life in order to survive. And then fucking Orochimaru shows up and tries to kill our main characters. And Orochimaru's man tries to come up here and tries to steal away Sasuke. And it's just fucking tension. Like, you don't know what's going on. This fucking evil villain in the tournament. There's so much mystery and so much political stuff going on in the background. Whereas Hunter exams are just painfully straightforward. And what I really can't stand about Hunter exams is the fact that so many people are dying and these people are just so unself-aware. I don't like this unself-awareness of this carelessness to human life and nobody commenting on it. Whereas in Naruto, even the characters themselves acknowledge that, yes, this is a bloody death game and we are pitting these 12 years old into sacrificing their lives to become Chunins. And there were so many discussions revolving around that. And because of that, it's just this self-awareness of this death game made Naruto so well. The characters more wise and so interesting and so engaging, and it gave it depth, it gave the characters so much dilemma and depth. Whereas in Hunter x Hunter, people are dying right and left and they just don't care. It just feels mind-boggling how unself-aware that is. And in an arc that's even boring than that is the Killua saving arc, where literally they train to hold mugs and just train with weights. They push a door, and then Gon gets beaten up by the guard, and then Killua greets and meets them. Fucking boring. And the only not so boring and actual fun part was the Killua fighting the spider. The spider arc was great, okay? It was great. But at the same time, was it like mind-blowingly amazing? No. But it's great. I'll give it that. That's the whole reason it's here. But at the same time, the reason it's so low is because, I was so bored. I don't care if the adaptation is so well. And I don't fucking care if the NES system is good. I don't like NES systems being explained and being dumped to. At least with, okay, yes, Naruto, I get it. I am biased. Okay? I am genuinely biased because I didn't put Naruto despite all the fillers, whereas I got bored of the fillers in Hunter x Hunter. But Naruto, looking back, I just have so many fond memories and so many insanely good moments. Whereas in the Hunter x Hunter look back, I just remember the Killua Spider arc. That's the only good thing I remember. Whereas there's so many stupidly amazing moments, like the entirety of the Zabu's arc, the shooting exam arc, the fucking even the Tsunade arc, and the Sasuke retrieval arc, are all bangers. And even if the Kazekage arc and the We Met Sasuke arc aren't that great, it just blows everything with the War of the Pain arc, the Kage Summit arc. So I just had to put it in A. And again, I'm still going to watch it. Maybe I'll make a fucking review about it. Hunter x Hunter. So in that sense, I'll definitely Hunter x Hunter definitely has a chance to be much higher in the future if I watch it more. But right now, I just stopped at the freaking Killua Ant arc, and it's so blah. That's the only good arc. Whereas Naruto has so many good arcs. I just have so many good memories of it. So yeah, it has bad pacing, regardless of good adaptation. Bad adaptation, but regardless of that, the story is very good. And even if the adaptation is not great, they made sure to make the fights good. Okay, so JoJo, let's put it in order. JoJo Part 1 is very mid. It's kind of very mid. It's so mid. I deadass think it's fucking worse than this. Yeah, it's kind of mid. Dio is the only saving grace. Jonathan, he's a cool bro, but he's kind of boring. Nothing interesting really happens to him. Nothing interesting really happens from a thematic standpoint, to be honest. Fucking Tokyo Ghoul has more thematic stuff. Dio is just being an evil brat, fantastic evil being, villain enjoying himself, and just Jonathan's just trying to stop him. It's a very simple story about these characters' relationships. But it's good, it's good. JoJo Part 2 is really fun, but then I think it's worse than haikyuu because I really enjoy haikyuu, man. Like the gameplay. Maybe even fucking deadass put it up below Kuroko no Basket because I rewatch certain parts of Kuroko no Basket and I get fucking chills, dude. It's such a cool show. Whereas JoJo's Part 2, yeah, it's smart, but at the same time, it's a generic fighting show. And yes, I get it. It has stakes, but at the same time, I feel like I don't care about stakes. I feel more care about emotions, okay? And in terms of gameplay, in terms of big brain gameplay, Kuroko no Basket and haikyuu have insane gameplay. Whereas JoJo's Part 2 has a very simple story, has some big brain moments, but overall, yeah. I'm conflicted because I could very well put it about here, but I don't know. My body isn't moving it. My body isn't following it. It's not it. I think my heart is saying something else. I think I really enjoy these sports anime for the gameplay, and I really like actual sports that has. And these authors have put so much thought and effort into making these sports good. And while I enjoy JoJo's, it's not that. It's not. It's very comparable, I would say, but I would still put it below it. It's very comparable. JoJo Part 3 goes straight. Okay, funny thing about JoJo Part 3. It's sloppy. And it's sloppy only because I skipped large portion. I watched the first part where Kakyoin joins the party, and then I skipped all the way to the Dabi brothers, and then I watched until the Dio fight, and yeah. So I watched the very short part. And you might say, hey, you should watch the other parts, okay? If you watch the other parts, it should be higher. No. The reason it's so high is because I skipped it. If I watched fucking filler, it will be fucking down. And I fucking realized, maybe Hunter x Hunter really is fucking trash. I'm going to put it down. I'm going to pull it down and pull it here. Hunter x Hunter is here because it made me bored. It genuinely made me bored. I only kept continuing it because people say it's good and it looked pretty. It looked pretty. And of course, the spider arc was really good. Not gonna lie. So in that sense, fuck it. Maybe here. Yeah. It kind of looks like... Oh man, why is Hyjin so low? I really like Hyjin. Maybe something like this. Yeah, I think I dig it. I think I really dig this one. Easily part 4 is the best JoJo part. Part 4 just blows water off everything. It's mid portion of like episode 19, 18 are kind of slow. It's kind of episodic and kind of meh. But the Bites the Dust arc, really fantastic. Even before then, it's really creative and it's really fun. Like trying to find everything revolving Kira is so interesting. The characters are also very interesting too. I think Jotaro is really enjoyable here too. It's high B, maybe even A. Dead Eyes will put it here. Yeah, I think it's here. It's actually here. It's A. Easily A. Boruto! Okay, this is the Boruto movie plus the fight from the anime, okay? I think the Boruto movie was actually really good. Okay, like I said, I'm not judging the anime because the anime seems so padded out. There's so many acts that seem to do nothing. I definitely did see certain clips on YouTube, and they just drag the shit out of the tuning exam acts. Whereas the movie is actually really, really solid. It's in the future. There's a lot of technological advancement. This fucking bastard is a millennial spoiled brat, and he doesn't know Naruto's legacy and what he had to go through. He doesn't know what it means to be a ninja, so he cheats, steals, and he thinks he's fucking talented and privileged. He gets called out. He's against the rules, and Naruto punishes him, and then the villains attack, and the fighting animation is fucking amazing in the anime, okay? To me, it doesn't really matter. In the movie, it was alright, it was good, but in the anime, it was fantastic. In my head, I just watched the movie and then just replaced the fight in the movie with the fight in the anime. So, because of that, I have a high opinion of Boruto, okay? Maybe not even here. Maybe I fucking put it even here. It was enjoyable, okay? When after Naruto ended, after I watched the valley fight of Sasuke and Naruto, I was kind of thirsty for the Naruto juice, okay? And then I watched the movie, and I was like, yeah, it was really fun. So yes, yeah, definitely. I think it's fucking. I did as might put Boruto about Hunter x Hunter, but no, it's just a movie. And I am kind of cheating, so I can't put it that high. So yeah, Boruto is here. Soul fucking Eater. Oh my god. The show is blah. I don't remember anything good about it. Like the characters, there were funny moments, definitely funny episodes, but at the same time, it's kind of the characters felt kind of annoying. Mako's voice acting in Japanese was so annoying that I switched to the dub. The characters are very one note. And it's also kind of very episodic. And again, they fucking study at school, but unlike Ruby's school segment, Ruby's first 3 volumes had lots of depth and lots of good messages and lots of good character moments. Okay? It had some depth in the school parts where the characters actually learned very important life lessons, not from the lessons in school suck, but from general hanging out with the other characters and the characters helping one another out. That was a very depth mode, and I definitely enjoyed the romance aspect of Ruby also too. Whereas Soul Eater isn't really that emotional as Ruby characters. and they also, episodic, and it doesn't have that much depth. The school segments don't have much depth. There are some very funny moments, like the exam, but yeah, I also kind of like dropped the story for some reason when the school got attacked. It was getting very interesting, but for some reason I fucking dropped it. Yeah, okay. Matika Magico! Okay, so I think what's good and bad about Madoka is that one, it's 12. Good and bad about it is it's 12 episodes, but at the same time, I definitely think there are contrivances with that 12 episode. I especially don't like how Madoka is so passive, yet at the same time, the major plot revolves so much heavily around Madoka. That's kind of meh to me. What I really enjoyed was the political aspect and how there were different factions of these magical girls trying to defend the Earth and eat dark energy or whatever they're trying to do. That's kind of cool. And again, the drama is really hit strong. But I don't know. I just. It's not that I don't like the show. It's really enjoyable. But at the same time, I definitely just have a really high appreciation of Ajin's mind games, Ajin's themes. I really think Ajin is a good filler. That's the only reason Madoka is down here. And like these shows are really enjoyable too. So Madoka is very, very cool and very psychological. I definitely enjoy the aspects of Madoka too. It's hard for me to rank the show because these shows all have depth and all say something interesting. So it's really hard for me to rank all of this, but I think the fucking plot contrivances in Madoka just kind of pulls it down a little bit. And this show is a little bit too rushed for my taste. Yeah, Akutama Drive is rushed. Yeah, Devilman is rushed, but Madoka is a little too bit rushed in my taste. I kind of wish it was a lot longer. If this was a 24 episode and it had managed to fix certain things, it will be a lot higher. But for the time being, yeah. But regardless of that, this is the problem with rankings, because at the end of the day, me ranking shit doesn't do justice to these shows, because Madoka is a very good show on its own right. Man, the more I think about it, Mushoku Tensei should go down because it doesn't have that much depth. I mean, Madoka being here means that it has to go down. But seriously, fuck Mushoku Tensei. Fuck your good animation. You're not as good as Fate Stay Night. Mushoku Tensei, good animation, the story, meh. So I have to put this about here. My feelings for the shows are really impressive. But at the same time, doing this stuff, I kind of even try to explore and find my own feelings, trying to find what I have been brainwashed, how I was brainwashed by the anime community. This is a recency bias. I have been brainwashed by the Mushoku Tensei stance. In reality, Mushoku Tensei doesn't have that much depth, unfortunately. Compared to Madoka, compared to Ajin, okay, JoJo is there just for the fun of it, okay? It's just too fun for me to not. And again, these shows are there for the fun. Ping Pong, and it also has some depth too, don't get me wrong, but Ping Pong for the depth. Unlimited Blizzworks also has depth and some insane animation too. So in that sense, Mushoku Tensei, I don't appreciate its depth that much. It has some interesting things to say about society and the race and the things, the reincarnation and otaku culture, but nah. Fate Zero is really good. Fate Zero is really good. It's better in Unlimited Blizzworks, specifically because Urobuchi as a writer is probably much better, and it's a lot more longer than Madoka 2, so definitely has a lot more chance to explore the themes. And yes, the characters do talk a lot. They do a talkie without actually exploring the themes through the actions. So, but it's fine. And I definitely do prefer people talk shit over rather than something like Tokyo Ghoul where stuff happens and you have no idea what is happening or why the characters are doing stuff. So compared to that, I definitely think the talking aspects of Fate Zero is very enjoyable. And the characters in Fate Zero are very charismatic. And the fights in Fate Zero are fucking amazing. Dude, no. Fate Zero deserves to be here. Okay, this is the last minute change, but yeah, I have to put Berserk above Blue Gender. I kind of was thinking, okay, Blue Gender is unrepresented hidden gem, so I have to put it. No, Berserk is about fighting humans and fighting himself. It asks a lot of deep questions. I mean, Blue Gender has deep themes too, but at the same time, it's fighting against giant insect monsters. Not very interesting, not very deep compared to Berserk, and Berserk has a lot of cool moments too. It also has both romance and the Griffith as a friend and a future antagonist. So yeah, I guess that's the thing. Fate Zero, fantastic animation, well adaptation, and yeah, I really think enjoy the characters. I enjoy Alexander Ryder, Kotomine Kirei as a villain is kind of interesting too. He becomes really fun the longer you watch, and Kiritsugu Emiya, again, fantastic character. It's a really great job. It's a really great story. It talks a little bit too much, whereas compared to Unlimited Blade Works, it actually like Unlimited Blade Works is much more show don't tell. And you know, if you watch my Ruby opinions, I definitely enjoy show don't tell, but it's fine. I definitely think like I still like characters like having good inner monologues in this, and Fate Zero's inner monologues are not that obnoxious compared to, whereas in My Hero Academia or in JoJo, it kind of starts to get obnoxious at certain points. But yeah, Fate Zero is fantastic. Yeah, baby.